Welcome back. In the last session, we have discussed about the merits of debentures with regard to companies and with regard to investors. And after that, we have discussed in brief about the differences between shares and debentures. And we were discussing about the different types of debentures that are classified on the basis of various nature and concepts. So let us continue with that. Two types of debenture classification was discussed, one on the basis of security point of view, another on the basis of redeemability. Let us continue with that. Next classification is on the basis of redemption point of view. Or we can say on the basis of convertibility. It's better to say the next classification as classification on the basis of convertibility. So, there are two types of debentures. One is convertible, another is non-convertible. Convertible debentures are those debentures which are convertible into shares or any other forms of securities at the option of the holders after a certain period are called convertible debentures. And these debentures can be converted into shares of the same company at the option of the debenture holder. This type of debenture enables its holder to change his status from that of a lender to the owner. At the beginning, it may be a type of a simple or typical debenture, and later on, after a certain period, it can be converted into shares. So, when the status was as a debenture, the concerned person will be considered as a creditor of the concern. Once it is changed to share, that is the status of debenture has been converted to the shares, that holder will be considered as the owner of the concern. And there are, under this classification, that is convertibility classification, there are two types of convertibility. One is fully convertible, another is partially convertible. That is, fully convertible means total number of debentures held by a certain person can be converted into equity shares or a preference shares. That depends upon the option of the holder. Partial conversion means only a certain number of debentures may be converted into shares. That is known as convertible debentures. Next one, non-convertible debentures. Debentures which are not convertible into shares of a company are called non-convertible debentures. And in this situation, it doesn't mean that the debentures cannot be converted into shares. It cannot be converted into shares or any other forms of securities of the same company. It will remain as a debenture during the whole life of that particular debenture. That is known as non-convertible debentures. And in some areas mean in some texts or in some references, you may see that convertible debentures may be known as CD. That is short form of convertible debenture, CD, and short form of non-convertible debenture as NCD, N, C, and D. So that is one classification. Another one, coupon rate point of view. That means there is specific rate debenture and zero coupon bond debentures. Let us discuss first one, specific rate. So what is meant by specific rate debenture? Debentures are usually issued with a specified rate of interest. We have mentioned or discussed about that area. Every debenture will be issued at a predetermined interest rate. This specified rate is called coupon rate. It may be either fixed or floating. Floating interest is usually linked with the bank rate and yields on treasury bonds plus a reward for the risk. So that is the concept with regard to specific rate. That means the debentures that having or that is followed by a fixed rate of dividend is known as sorry, not dividend, interest is known as specific rate, and the fixed rate may be sometimes fixed, sometimes fluctuating. In fixed means at the beginning of the issue of debenture, the company and the holder will term upon with an agreement that 10% interest is charged on certain number of debentures, and it will be there from the beginning till end. Floating or fluctuating rate means the company agreed to pay 10% interest plus a certain percentage for the risk bond, and in some situation the risk of the concern may be, so that means the risk on that particular investment may be high, or sometimes it may be low. If it is low, the risk factor or the risk percentage of interest will be low. For example, 10% is a fixed, and the company agrees to pay 2% as a risk rate, and that 2 may not be fixed, it may be fluctuating. At the high risk situation, the risk factor may be 4%, and if it is a low risk situation, it may be 1%, like that. That is why it is at the floating or fluctuating rate. So that is with regard to specific rate concept. Another one is zero coupon bond, means as the name suggests, it doesn't have any interest rate. So what is meant by a zero coupon bond? A zero coupon bond is one which does not carry a specified rate of interest. In order to compensate the investors, such bonds are issued at a substantial discount. The difference between the face value and the issue price is the total amount of interest related to the duration of the bond. That is with regard to zero coupon bonds. It is almost similar to the concept of bonds. We had discussed about the bonds at the beginning of this module. In the bonds, even though the rate is not predetermined, there will be a fixed rate. But in case of zero coupon bonds, the rate is not fixed. It is usually offered at a discount, and what is the amount of interest with regard to that particular debenture? It will be the difference between face value and the redemption value. We have discussed about how the face value, that means the difference between face value or the issue price and the redemption price, has been discussed at the beginning of this module. Just go through that session. So that is with regard to the classification of debenture on the basis of coupon rate point of view. Coupon rate means interest point of view. Next, on the basis of priority. Priority in the sense that we have learned about first charge, second charge, like that. Same classification comes under this one, on the basis of priority. Under priority basis, there are two types. One is first mortgage debentures. First mortgage debentures means debentures that are payable first out of the property charged or property in charge. There will be a charge on particular asset, and that property may be used to deal the redemption of that particular debenture. That is known as first mortgage debentures. Second mortgage debentures means those debentures or particular debentures are payable after satisfying the first mortgage debentures, because usually in case of first mortgage debenture and second mortgage debenture, it means first charge and second charge. So we have learned about the first charge concept. And regarding second charge, both the activities that are happening in these two situations are almost similar. Payment to the debenture holders is done out of the property. So first charge means usually that property will be used to deal with the dealings of those debenture holders that have first charge on that particular property or asset. Second charge means once this payment or any financial dealings with regard to that particular debenture holder who was the first charge on that particular asset, after dealing those financial transactions, the second charge on that particular asset will be dealt. That is a concept with regard to first mortgage debenture and second mortgage debentures. So that is with regard to on the basis of priorities. And last one, transferability point of view. Transferability point of view means there are two types: registered debentures and bearer debentures. Registered debentures are those debentures which are registered in the books of the company. they are registered in the names of the particular person who are registered as debenture holders with their full details in the books of the company. The names of the holders of these debentures appears both in the debenture certificate and in the company's register of debenture holders. They can be transferred through the transfer deed. It enables the company to locate the specific persons as the holders to whom payment can be made. The simple concept is, to whom the debentures are issued, the company will maintain a separate register for that. So when the details of that debenture is recorded in the register, it is known as registered debentures. There is not much of a difference. And another category is bearer debentures. Bearer debentures means those debentures, the details of which are not recorded in the register of debentures of the company. They are freely transferable. The principal amount and interest when due are payable to the bearer of these debentures. Bearer means one who holds something, that is known as bearer. So bearer debenture means whoever holding the debenture certificate will get the payment means in the form of principal and interest. That is known as bearer debenture. In the case of registered debentures, whoever holding the debentures, his details will be recorded in the books of the company. Books means register of the debentures of the company. That is the two differences between registered debentures and bearer debentures. And in case of bearer debentures, these are treated as negotiable instruments and they are transferable by mere delivery. There is no other formalities regarding transferability. And coupons are attached to such debenture certificates, and the bearer, whoever holding the debentures, simply send such certificates to the concern in order to acquire the interest from the company. That is a very simple procedure regarding the receipt of interest on such debentures. So these are the typical types of debentures that are dealt in the company, and these are the classifications on the basis of various characteristics. Next one, accounting treatment for issue of debentures. The debentures may be issued at par, or it may be issued at a premium, or it may be issued at discount. That is just like the methods and procedures we have followed in the case of shares. They may be issued for cash or for consideration other than cash. We have learned about that concept in the shares also. It may also be issued to creditors as a collateral security. The amount on debentures may be collected in lump sum or in installments. The entries for the issues are made is in almost a similar pattern as in the case of issue of shares. So the practical area will be much more similar to the methods which we have learned in the case of shares. The only thing is, in that case we have written as shares or equity shares or preference shares. Instead you have to write it as debentures. So the procedure of the issue of debentures are exactly same as in the case of shares, and we have mentioned now. A prospectus is issued inviting the public subscription of debentures. Afterwards, the board of directors go ahead with the allotment of debentures. The amount may be collected in lump sum or in the form of installments. If it is in the case of a lump sum amount, full amount of debentures may be collected at the time of application, or if the company is intended to collect the amount in the form of installments, it includes application, allotment, first call, second call. If there is any other calls, that call may be there. Debentures may be issued at par, issued at premium, or at discount. And debenture is prefixed with a rate of percentage to denote the interest. That is a new information with regard to debentures. Unlike equity shares and preference shares, since the rate are not prefixed, usually you will use the term equity shares or preference shares. In some cases you might have come across a question where 8% preference shares or 12% equity shares like that, but it is not a compulsory that equity shares and preference shares should be accompanied by a percentage rate. But in case of debentures there must be a percentage rate, and it may be in the form of 12% debentures or 10% debentures, 8% debentures, 14% debentures. That depends upon the information given in the question. So the debentures are issued. So how all the company can issue debentures? First one, the company can issue the debentures for cash. For cash is the usual pattern which we have learned in the case of shares. It may be received in lump sum or it may be received in installment. Lump sum means all amount may be collected at the time of application. There won't be any allotment or first call or second call, whatever it is. But in case of installments, there may be application, allotment, first call, second call, and sometimes there may be third call. That is a very rare situation. That is one pattern. Another, the company may issue debentures for consideration other than cash. Just like the consideration other than cash we have learned in case of shares, sometimes company issues debentures for the purchase of any fixed assets. And finally, it is treated as a collateral securities. So if anyone wants some financial assistance, if he holds any debenture certificate, he can lend it to someone else, or it can use as a security from financial institutions to acquire loans. So that is another form of use. So these are the main uses of debentures, or why the company is issuing debentures means for fulfilling these three purposes. So let us begin with the first one, debentures issued for cash. Under that, we have learned that the company can either raise the full amount in lump sum or it can collect in different installments. So let us first discuss about the collection of money in lump sum. Lump sum means the entire amount may be collected at the time of application. So the entry is on the receipt of amount along with the application, bank account debtor to debenture application. It is almost similar to the entry which we have learned at the time of shares. The only difference is here we use debenture, in the previous module we have used shares. Next one, on the refund of excess money. In the debentures also almost all the adjustments which you have learned in the case of shares is also there in debentures. Only difference is the change in term. So in this case also there will be excess collection of money from the public. So in that case the company has to refund, and don't worry anything about the refunding and other methods which we have learned in case of shares. There is no such issue regarding pro rata allotment or anything in case of debentures. If there is any excess collection, it may be refunded. That is a concern. So whenever there is a refund, the simple entry means just write down this entry in the opposite direction, that is debenture application account debtor to that. And finally, once the amount is collected, next you need to pass the due entry. There are two entries at the time of collection, this one and another entry is due entry on allotment of debentures, debenture application account debtor to debentures. And this entry is only there when the question mentions anything about the excess money. In that case only you need to pass this entry, otherwise you need to pass only these two entries. Remember, it is a case of lump sum collection. Let us discuss a question, then you will get an idea about debenture amounts received in lump sum. Javed Company Limited issued 15,013% debentures of rupees 100 each at par. Application fees received for 18,000 debentures. Full amount is collected along with the application, pass necessary journal entry. See, in the question it is mentioned that 15,000 was issued, received 18,000. That itself mentioned that it is an over subscription. Here full amount is collected along with the application, so it also mentioned about the collection of amount in lump sum, otherwise it won't have mentioned this sentence. So we have to pass these three entries because it is a refunding situation. So first one, bank account debtor to debenture application. Thing is that if there is a rate specified If there is rate means there will be rate specified in the question. So mention that rate. Bank account debtor, total amount is 15,000 of 100 each, but the company subscribed, the subscribers or the public subscribed for 18,000 debentures. So you have to show this one. 18,000 into 100, 18 lakhs. Amount received on 18,000 debentures at rupees 100 each along with the application. Next, you need to refund the excess amount. What was the amount intended to collect? 15,000 into 100, 15 lakhs, but the company received 18 lakhs. So how much amount has to be refunded by the company? Take the difference between 18 lakhs and 15 lakhs, that is 3 lakhs. Debenture application account debtor to bank. Remember here debenture means 13% debenture, so 13% debenture application account debtor to bank 3 lakhs. Refund of the excess money received on 3,000 debentures. Next one, finally we are going to pass the due entry. Debenture application account debtor to debentures. See here it is 13% debentures, so 13% debenture application account debtor to 13% debentures. Here you have to show the correct amount the company intended to collect. Allotment made on 15,000 debentures and the amount received along with application transferred to debenture account. So this is a simple case with regard to lump sum. Usually in the questions university exam this type of question may not ask, but remember whenever this comes you have to post the necessary journal entries correctly. So I believe you have got an idea about the concept of debentures, how the company is raising capital by means of debentures. These are some of the initial methods. We will discuss in detail about further aspects regarding the issue of debentures in the coming sessions. Until then, go through these areas. If you have any queries, please let me know. And the thing is, you need not have to worry anything about studying anything new. The only thing is the change in name. Earlier it was shares, now it is debentures. All other adjustments are similar in this case also. Whatever you have done in the case of shares, it is also applicable in case of debentures. The only thing is you need not have to implement all those adjustments of shares in the debentures. In debentures, the adjustments and working are very simple. There are no other complication unlike shares. So go through the shares methods thoroughly. If you are having clear idea about the methods and cases we have discussed in case of shares, then this module will be very easy. So go through it. If you have any queries, please let me know. We will discuss about the further aspects in the coming sessions.